Romeo and Novavax, Prologue. One household of an investor in an American city, another a fair company focused on prevention of serious infectious diseases. Come forth the investor and the company to make civil a clean investment. The pair, a star-crossed investor and corporation, whose misadventure doeth overthrow the eternal strife to save life. The fearful passage of investment fundamentals and the continuance of the technical rage marked the investor and corporation, which but their funding need naught could remove, is now the time for which if you with patient ears attend. O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Novavax? Well, let's take a look. Novavax, a pre-revenue vaccine company, has been on a serious upward move. Since August 1st, the biotech shares have gained about 44% as of this writing. This trend could very well continue. The expected earnings growth rate for Novavax for the current and next quarter is 49.6% and 55.8% respectively. But what is behind Novavax's stellar showing this month? Well, three key issues. Last June, the company cut a deal with Catalent Biologics to assume the leases for two of its product development and manufacturing facilities. This transaction should help to significantly lower the company's cash burn rate. Secondly, Novavax recently announced that the Food and Drug Administration has signed off on the design of the company's late-stage trial for the experimental flu vaccine NanoFlu. If, and that's a big if, all goes according to plan, the biotech expects to have top-line data from this trial by the first quarter of 2020. Lastly, earlier this month, Novavax unveiled a promising new data analysis for an experimental respiratory virus vaccine, ResVax. The more mature outcome data may be able to open the door for a surprise regulatory approval in one or more international territories, but that is no guarantee. Earlier this year, the vaccine missed the primary endpoint of its maternal immunization study. However, these longer-term data do at least provide a solid rationale for another late-stage trial. At the same time, Novavax ended the most recent quarter with less than $80 million in cash and cash equivalents. The biotech therefore appears ripe for a substantial capital raise, especially with NanoFlu's late-stage trial set to get underway soon. As such, investors should expect the shares to remain very volatile. So, let's take a look at our charts. And we're looking at the 20-year monthly chart on Novavax Inc., and the symbol is NVAX. For disclosure purposes, I do not hold any shares of Novavax at this time. And going back throughout its history, we can see that it has these rockets that head up and they peak and then it comes crashing down. A little bit of a rocket, crash. Rocket, this isn't much of a crash, but definitely coming on down with another rocket and then another move. And then this is a pretty good rocket up to that level there and a pretty good crash all the way down here with another rocket move we're in the midst of. The close was $6.20 today on Thursday. Moving down here into the MACD, you can see that volatility in there. Pretty interesting pattern. This sort of stair step pattern that comes in here, but that was broken at this point in here. So now are we starting back at zero or what? Can't really say, but we did have that bottom and that move is moving on up through the zero line and heading on up. So could this stock continue? Most likely yes, but I'm going to say be very, very cautious and careful. The histogram shows pretty much the same thing. Price rate of change, not much of a pattern there. Certainly can see that bottom, and you certainly can see that we are heading on our way up. Previous peak was there. We're not too far from it. So I would imagine we're going to get there relatively quickly. So be careful. Relative strength index, there's somewhat of a pattern here that you can pick out. You see these bottoms and then the moves. So hits these bottoms down at these levels as it did here in late 2016, 2017, but it moves on up. It's only gotten to that overbought territory a few times in the past, and we're almost there now. So be cautious. Going back here down to stochastics, pretty much the same thing. Volume looks fine. Looks like a pretty good upward trend line going back several years. So that I do like. And then here, the Williams, like the other oscillators, you can see the bottoms and then the rockets. Back on up here into the price chart. This is what I would call a cat on acid. You don't know when it's going to jump and you don't know when it's going to crash. Right now, it definitely is in the middle of a jump, but how high it's going to go, I can't say. And when is it going to crash? I can't say. So all I can say is that being a pre-revenue company, it's going to have a lot of volatility. And with that volatility comes a lot of risk. So if you're going to play with this stock, make sure you know what you're doing. Definitely research those fundamentals to the best of your ability. And even then, take caution. And so for today, that's ChewDog Charts. Thank you.